Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have just an inspiring show coming right up with special guest Vincent Genna, and he's here today to talk to us about all the love you need, attracting and maintaining the perfect relationship. Now, Vincent is a world-renowned psychic medium, healer, respected spiritual teacher, and dynamic animal communicator. Vincent's here today to share with us not only how to attract, but also, more importantly, how to maintain that perfect relationship we're looking for. So let's welcome to the show, Vincent Genna.
Well, Marianne, thanks for having me. It's always exciting to be here with you.
Oh, it's always such a pleasure to spend time with you. My goodness, I have been one of the few lucky people who have gotten to meet you in person. And how gifted are you? In many different arenas too.
Well, what a blessing for us that you wound up moving here. So now that we're closer, it's great. I can see. I never get a chance to see some of my hosts in person, and it's so wonderful to be able to do that with you.
Well, it's been such a pleasure, and I know that we've been talking about you've got this great event coming up, and I'm going to be attending. And so as soon as I heard about it, I thought, gosh, we have to have you back to talk about this because I didn't know you did this. So you've got this relationship event, right?
Yes, I'm very excited about that. It actually is going to be a very special and different event, because for the first time, I am introducing my wife, Eileen. She is going to be actually doing the workshop with me. I mean, most of my career, it's been about me speaking, and she's always been not so much in the background, but by my side as my business manager, talking with the people. I mean, the last event that I wound up doing, she had her own reception line at the end of the event. It was hysterical. I thought she'd be right by me, and there she is at another end and a whole bunch of people wanting to talk with her. It was fabulous. So,
well, I'm one of those people, so I can understand.
You will. You'll understand why right away as soon as you meet her. So we've been together for 45 years. I mean, I started dating her when I was 17 and she was 16, and it was just one of those things that it's worked out so incredibly well. We just celebrated 40 years of marriage. So we know something about relationships. We know how to maintain them. We know the work that's involved in them. So we figured, you know what? How great would it be to be able to share our experiences and our wisdom and knowledge in reference to being married? Because it's not an easy thing today. You know as well as I know that relationships are difficult. They've not been lasting. I mean, statistically, and this statistic is back from 1999. I don't even know the current statistic, but 56% of all marriages were failing, okay? And those are the reported statistics. And we know that they don't have to fail. They don't have to fail. So Eileen and I figured that this would be a perfect, wonderful time, especially because it's been so difficult for people to get along in the world, to share what we know, how to make a relationship work, whether it's a marriage, whether it's dating. It doesn't matter. Relationship is a relationship, and the formula for one fits all formulas, fits all relationships. So I'm excited about that, introducing Eileen. She is too. She's like always talking with people, but this is going to be the first time she's on stage with me. Oh, yeah. And everybody's always joking, Marianne, about, oh, yeah, she's going to take it away from you, man. She does really good, and I can just see her up there. And it's like she doesn't have any interest in that, but I am so thrilled to have her on the stage and share that experience with me. But then there's also going to be another surprise for those who attend.
Oh, really? What is
that? Well, Abraham Hicks, who Esther trances and has become very well known for the books that he has put out in the information or the collective consciousness that speaks through Marianne. Well, I had been, in my beginnings, in my spiritual awakening, I had been trancing an entity for the past 35 years. But we did it always privately. It was just between my wife and I, or my wife and I and very few friends. And recently at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo here in Raleigh in February, I introduced Joseph to the public. That's the entity, Joseph from Canaan. Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat Joseph. He had been my major guide through all of this, and it was extremely well received. Well, during the relationship workshop, Joseph is going to make an appearance and give some wisdom. Besides Eileen and I giving our experience with our relationship, Joseph wants to give some knowledge about relationships and share that publicly. So that, again, is a new thing, fairly new thing for me, and he's pretty powerful because he comes from the old school. And so it's really interesting. So it'll be exciting for me, first of all, to be able to have Eileen there, and second of all, for Joseph to make an appearance through me. I'm very excited about that. So it's going to be one powerful Saturday, I can tell you that.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I know you and I talked about this previously, and this event isn't just for married couples or couples. I mean, you had mentioned that this is also for people who are looking to get into a relationship.
Yes, exactly. And so many of my clients that I do readings for, that's a primary question they always have. When am I going to find a relationship? When is a relationship going to work out? When is the relationship that I'm in going to work out or turn into something? So it really doesn't matter whether you have one or not. It's the most natural thing on the face of the earth, and yet some of the most deprived things on the face of the earth is an unconditional, loving, intimate relationship. And there is an importance to having one and getting involved in one. And there are too many people that feel that it's okay to be alone. But they come to that conclusion not because, they've gone through life and they've had these incredible relationships or spouses passed now, and that's fine. I'm okay with things. It's more about, I don't want to go through the work or the effort or the pain or the suffering that comes with love and relationship, so I'm fine the way I am. That's how most people conclude that they're better off being alone. So that comes from a negative, not a positive experience. So the one thing that we will include in teaching that is that love does not hurt. It's not painful. I hate Adele songs because that's all she sings about, is sometimes love is good, sometimes love is painful. And she's not the only one. There's tons of songs about how painful love can be, and it's absolutely not true. It's the earthly love that everybody's been experiencing that's painful, because that can end, that wavers, that depletes, but unconditional love, when experienced, empowers you. Look, Eileen and I, for 45 years, it hasn't been perfect. Let's put it this way. It's been perfect in the way it's supposed to be. And at times there are rough times, and we've certainly had our share of arguments, maybe not as much as other people, but we've always grown because we know what we need to do when we have those arguments, because those are more signs of what's going on personally rather than what's going on with the couple. Now, I don't want to give away a lot of what we're going to be talking about that Saturday, but that's a primary focus that we will be talking about, is the healing of the self in order to make the couple work. So it makes no difference then if you're alone or if you're with somebody.
Well, I think it's so powerful for you to say that, because, a lot of my girlfriends, they're like, well, I'm too busy. I don't know if I have time for a relationship. There's all these different excuses that you hear, but deep down they want it because, we're all coming.
It is. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is a pioneer. Well, she was. I think she's deceased. She died not too long ago. A psychologist who pioneered studies and research in death, dying, and bereavement. Okay, so much of the understanding now that we have of dying and hospice and things like that come from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And in her studies, okay, the primary question that she asked people is, what is your number one fear of dying? Okay, and what was interesting is you would think most people would say how they were going to die. Okay, but the majority of people that she asked this question to answered, dying alone is my biggest fear. Dying alone. Okay, so if dying alone is the biggest fear, what does that say about what people need and want? They want companionship. And they weren't talking about, oh, I want my cousin by my bedside while I'm dying. I want my friends there while I'm dying. No. Dying not having a partner. Dying not having somebody who had loved me so intently. We have relationships every day. Our relationships at work with our coworkers, our relationships if we're going to school with school peers, our relationships with our neighbors where we live, closer friends, and then our intimate relationships. And with each group of relationships, you learn more about yourself. The whole reason why we're here and with each other is because we learn more about who we are through our interactions with other people. The deeper the interaction, the more you learn about yourself and grow. So the way we set it up, not God, not any spirit, not any force of nature, we're the ones who created relationships. Because we knew that we were going to grow the most by being with somebody and sharing ourselves that intimately. Therefore, we're depriving ourselves of our greatest side by not being in a deeper relationship. So, yes, could you get along? Yes. Can a diabetic get along without sugar because the doctor said that sugar is going to kill you if you keep eating it? Absolutely, if necessary. Is that diabetic enjoying life because of that? No, he's being deprived of sweetness because of the illness that he or she has. Okay, the same thing for any type of disability. Yes, you can get along, but if you don't have to, if you can heal the diabetes, if you can heal the disability, if you can heal being lonely, why wouldn't you? Because then you can live a more fulfilled, rewarding life and have that with somebody to share. We do it automatically, okay? Think about at any time that you've ever watched a television show or been to the movies by yourself and you saw a great movie and you enjoyed it so much, you called up your friends or somebody you were close with and said, oh man, you've got to see this movie. It is spectacular. And you know what? When you go, tell me and I want to go with you. I want to see it again with you. Why do we do that? Because we can enjoy it ourselves, but we enjoy it that much more when we share the experience with somebody else. So, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. I think that's so truthful. And when people look deep down, they want to have experiences with other people. I mean, we're, as a nation, I'm sure this is probably relates to other places in the world as well. We're in a loneliness crisis where people are feeling more alone than they've ever felt before.
And Marianne, you just answered the question as to why the world is acting the way it is. Why are people lashing out? It's because of their deprivation of love. Now, I'm going to say something that sounds completely crazy and off the wall, but Osama bin Laden is a pure example of this when he was alive. He was sibling 51. 51. That means he had 50 brothers and sisters. There was no way that him as a child ever experienced any love whatsoever. There was no time for it. There was no room for it where he grew up. He was lashing out because of that deprivation, because of his lack of love. We can go as far back as the story of Cain and Abel in the Bible. That was actually a metaphoric, metaphysical story for us to understand how we can be if we're deprived of love. The whole story was that Abel received such great attention from mom and dad, and he was such a nice guy, and everybody loved him, but Cain didn't feel the same way. He didn't get the same attention, right? He was the older guy, and there was expectations of him, and so he started to become angry, resentful, and what did he wind up doing? He wound up killing his own brother because of his jealousy, okay? That story is to let us know that when we're deprived of love, we can turn into, that negativity can come out of us, and it can be turned against those people we want to have love, with our brothers and sisters. So it stands to reason that somebody who's never experienced it is going to be angry, resentful, rejecting feelings all without him, that it's going to come out in some way. He's going to lash out. And that's what's happening in the world today because of such stories that people have gone through when they're growing up and their lack and deprivation of the proper parents, the proper love. And yes, they're lashing out. So love is everything. Love is what guides us, and we need to find those good, loving relationships, and we have to learn how to make them work. That's the thing. We have to learn how to make them work. That's what we're going to be focusing on, my wife and I, is how to make relationships work. There is a definite formula. And people need to hear that formula. It's not random. It's not just because, yes, do I believe Eileen and I had a soul contract beforehand? Yes, absolutely. But there's no guarantee to that soul contract once you're here, because the both of us went through our own issues, our own problems growing up. And so we could have bypassed and missed being together. Not to mention, she comes from a Jewish background. I'm a Roman Catholic. We met back in 1973. There was no interracial relationships as popular as there are today. They were hidden back then. So we had everything going against us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys kind of battled all the odds, didn't you?
And we made it work. She came from, not to mention, at the time, I was an actor and unemployed because I was just striving for stuff, right? Her parents were divorced, but so it was her mom taking care of her, and her mom was very concerned over the fact that first her Jewish daughter was dating a goyim, me, this Catholic, and that I was an actor, and that I would never have a stable job, right? Then my mother was like, well, why are you dating a Jewish girl? And she also always thought that I was unstable anyway, too. And at some point she felt, boy, you're so fortunate she even wants to go out with you. And so, yeah, I know. So I had that going against me,
Yeah, well, but most people, I mean, you've been on the show before and we've talked about this. I mean, you were in Greece, so it wasn't like, you were, we look at this now and gosh, it's like one of the cult classics when people look at, look back at different movies, and that's also one that's kind of making a comeback.
Oh, well, it is, but the interesting thing about that is being in such a famous movie doesn't afford you any extra benefits in Hollywood. They really don't care. And it absolutely did nothing for my career on Broadway because it was like, okay, that's a movie. That's not Broadway, and so one thing doesn't lead to another, as any professional actor would know. So I was unemployed more than I was employed. So I had everything going against our marriage, with that as well. Even the spiritual awakening that I had that turned our world upside down, that was another thing that put a stress and strain on the marriage. So it wasn't like it was Brady Bunch from the beginning. And, when we played music every night and played card games at the table and went to bed, We had tons of things we had to deal with. But the thing was, we learned the formula pretty early on. We didn't know it was a formula of success. We just knew this is the way we had to do it. And we constantly worked at growing individually, but doing it together. That word together is going to come up a lot during the lecture and the workshop, okay, that Saturday. Doing it together. Interdependence versus independence and dependence. Interdependence. That's going to come up a lot. No compromising. I hear that all the time, that relationships are about compromising. No, they are not about compromising. Compromising eventually leads to resentment, okay? And in a relationship, there should be no compromising, because compromising means one person giving up of something of that they want for the other person. Okay? You keep doing that. What is the greatest complaint you wind up hearing with couples? I gave so much and he gave nothing back, or she gave nothing in return, right? And so that's what compromising leads to. So they're going to hear about things like that. So there are going to be some very contradictory understandings and terms and philosophies and theories that we're going to be sharing. Okay, but people have to understand this is what works. This is what works. And if you want a working relationship, if you think you can do it another way, there have been people trying to do it their way, and it hasn't been working. Albert Einstein said you can't solve a problem with the same set of beliefs and paradigm that created the problem. So people are going to have to come to this workshop with an open mind. And we remove a lot of the sharp objects from the room anyway, so that nobody has anything to throw at us. So
even Eileen, right?
Even Eileen, because sometimes she may want to throw something at me. So it'll be fun because we've never done this before. And yes, we'll have an outline, absolutely, of what we want to talk about. But it's going to be spontaneous between the two of us on the stage. So it'll definitely be entertaining because both of us have very strong personalities. Marianne, I've got a reputation for having the bigger mouth. I don't, because anybody who gets to know Eileen realizes, oh my goodness, she's just as outspoken as I am. So we're two very strong personalities. So that's another thing. You know, people might think, well, one of you has to be passive and constantly go along with the other. No. That's not true at all. And they'll see that.
Well, I'm looking forward to attending because I know the dynamics between you and your wife are just amazing, knowing you, and it'll be so nice to meet Eileen, and and obviously you guys are doing something right. I mean, you've got this track record, but then also to look at it from a spiritual aspect as well. I mean, I think that's what people are really craving.
And that's exactly what they need to understand. This isn't just psychological work that we did. It's spiritual work. And I honestly don't know why and how people think that when they get into a relationship that they don't have to get on the same page or in the same book and do something that helps them to grow, especially spiritually, because spirituality is being totally misunderstood. Everybody tends to translate that into a religion that they believe in. Well, religion was humankind's way of expressing their spiritual beliefs. But that was from the beginning of time, right? And things have changed and grown so that we get a better understanding of what spirituality really is. And you do have to have some kind of belief whether there is a power or force that is greater than who we are and what we are that's out there running all of this or empowering it or whatever. It could be the battery to the Energizer Bunny, that's moving this. Something is there, and you have to know how it relates to you, your relationship to each other, and your relationship to this planet that we're on. That's what spirituality is all about. And as a couple, as an individual, you want to learn that information to help you fulfill all of who you are. It's like, well, I'm going to be the human side of me, and I have no idea if there's anything else that's there, so I'm just going to use this part. And that's kind of like just saying I'm going to use my left arm and left leg only to get through life. Even though I have a right arm and a right leg, I really don't know anything about it. I'm just going to use the left arm and the left leg. And that's only using part of you. So you have to go deeper than that. And what better way to go deeper than with somebody that you're close with, right? So our spiritual growth has evolved tremendously because of the work that we've done, and the work we've done, again, I use the word together. Mm-hmm. Okay? We didn't do it on our own. So I see people that attend these spiritual centers and are reading these books all by themselves, even though they have a partner or a spouse. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you then go home and have all this information inside of you, but nobody to share it with because your partner's uninterested, or your partner doesn't have the same beliefs as you? And these are deep things. This isn't about, well, I like the color blue and my partner likes the color red. We can get along with that. But I'm not going political, but this is the easier way of doing it. I'm Democrat, my partner's Republican. How do you possibly think that that's going to work? I mean, because there's such opposing views, especially nowadays, right? There's such opposing views. You're setting everything against yourself, but you think, well, that's his opinion, that's my opinion. You're not sharing the deepest parts of you. So there has to be a commonality. And here's the greatest thing, again, that we will be teaching. You can create the commonality. We did. She was Jewish. I was Roman Catholic. We didn't pay attention to that part. We paid attention to our similarities. And we'll talk about that in greater detail. But that's the most important thing. And when you come together with a partner, like attracts like to start with, so there is an underpinning, an undercore of similarity between the two of you. That's your goal. You got to find what that similarity is, because it is there. It is there. The concept of opposites attract is it's a fallacy. Its opposites may appear in their personality styles, but not in the core. The core, of course, like attracts like. And there is your foundation for a perfect relationship. Like attracts like.
That's so important, because you do hear opposites attract, and then people try to make it work, and then it becomes like a thing,
No, we're opposite to start with. It's called male and female, and so there's where the opposites can be. Gender differences are going to be opposite, and then there's opposite, like I said, personality styles, but that's not what did the initial attracting. The energetic, and there's where the spiritual part comes in. Because we're more than just psychological beings and physical beings, we're spiritual beings. It's that spiritual energy that was sent out into the universe and wound up meeting and linking with another similar energy. And now the two of you wind up meeting above anybody else, whichever way you meet, via the computer, via your best friend, via a party. It doesn't make a difference. It's still your energy that is attracting to you that partner. And it's from that attraction, that foundation, that you begin your work together. It's not going to happen by itself. You've got to do the work. It's just the same way as pursuing a dream. It doesn't happen by you sitting in the house and waiting for the dream to knock on the door. You have to be proactive. You have to go out. Anything that's worthwhile is worth working for. We've heard that adage over and over and over again, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the best thing, and I can tell you this, and I can tell you listeners right now, and that's why they need to come to this workshop. You will never have as great of an experience as sharing an unconditional love, your unconditional love, with a partner, with a person, to be so close that your souls become one. There is nothing more rewarding than that. And people need to learn how to experience that. And they can, and everyone can. Because like I said, relationships are the most natural thing on the face of the earth, which is the reason why there's so much trouble today. If they weren't so important, wars would not have been started from relationships. Lashing out at people wouldn't be starting from relationships. People not believing in themselves wouldn't be caused because of poor relationships. Everything revolves around relationships. Everything.
Yeah. Well, and because I know we've talked about single people and couples. What if there's a couple that they're still talking, but they're on the ropes? It's not a good deal. Are they a good candidate for attending this workshop as well?
Absolutely, because I can tell you right now, the majority of people who think they've done the work, and because I have clients like that all the time, I need to know if I'm supposed to divorce my husband or divorce my wife. Okay, what work did you do? Well, we did couple counseling. Then you did nothing. You did nothing. Because couple counseling is not solving the problem. It's not the couple that is the problem. I will say this again. No matter what problem you are having with a partner, it is not the couple that is experiencing the problem. It's the individuals. And the individuals can heal. And if the individuals can heal, then the couple can heal. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times that the couples are just not meant to be together because as they grow in different directions. But this is how you know. Even Neil Donald Walsh in Conversations with God, God says this, based on Neil's writing, it would be an amicable breakup. Both would understand that they've reached their saturation point with each other. Both would be very content with being able to move on. And they remain friendly because they've had such a great relationship. So there's nothing negative about leaving each other in the right way. But that's not the way it's happening now. People aren't leaving each other the right way. They're leaving each other the wrong way. They're divorcing for God knows any reason whatsoever. And it's all about self. So anybody who is having hard times right now, this is the workshop they need to hear before they can make any decision about separation, about divorce, about anything. Because I can promise you they've not done any of the primal work they need. They've done everything else. They've gone, I was a psychotherapist, so I understand that. I did couple counseling. But in my couple counseling, I said couple counseling is not enough. You don't need to just learn the 5 languages of love so that you can communicate better with each other. That's not the purpose of that book. Okay? There's a deeper, we accept too many things and we look for all of these step-by-step processes that are going to make things work. I can tell you right now, I am not going to have a list of you do this number 1, you do this number 2, you do this number 3, you do this number 4, and it'll all work out. No. I'm going to be telling you, we're both going to be telling you the things that work, and whatever order you want to do those in, it doesn't matter. You know, you just need to do those things. It's not what counseling is about. It's what healing is about. Because whatever is happening in the couple is a reflection of what needs to be healed in the individuals.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with psychic medium Vincent Genna in regards to all the love you need, attracting and maintaining the perfect relationships. We'll be right back after these messages.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special. When you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 123 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
There are nearly 2 million Americans living with amputation. Many live right here in San Antonio. Becoming an amputee can be scary, frustrating, isolating, but there's no reason to feel alone. The San Antonio Amputee Foundation is here to help support you and guide you toward resources such as home and car modifications and even prosthetic limbs. For more information or to make a donation, visit saamputee.org. We'll help you live a full, active life, one step at a time. San Antonio Amputee Foundation, healing limbs, hearts, and souls.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest Vincent Genna, and most of you know him. Vincent is a world-renowned psychic medium, and today he's here to share with us all you need is love, attracting and maintaining that perfect relationship. So, Vincent, before we went to break, we were talking in regards to relationships and what makes things work. You know, I have to say, you have a very unique array of insights into relationships, not only from your extensive background, both personally and professionally, but also from the spiritual realm. You must be getting messages all the time and feedback that most people don't even tap into.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. It's very important to me. If I'm going to be doing this work and telling people what they need to do, I better know where that comes from. And yes, so the psychic part of me has tapped into universal wisdom and knowledge, okay? But I wanted to take it one step further. So that gives me the spiritual understanding and ancient understanding. But psychological understanding is just as important. And there are psychological factors and phenomena that go on that get in the way of what we're trying to accomplish in life. So I needed to know that. So yes, so I went back to school as an adult. I've gotten my BA in psychology and my master's in clinical social work. And my focus was on individuals and couples. And so I know a lot about couple counseling and family therapy and marriage counseling and the human mind and individuality. I studied with a professor who was very famous for putting out journals and articles about the self. And so it was very important for me to get as much information in my background so I knew truly what was going on, and I can support that. So this isn't just pulling it out of left field, and I happen to be lucky that my wife and I have been together for so many years. This is knowledge, wisdom, experience, and study for over 35 years. So, you know, I'm 63 years old. I know something that's going on. My life has been wonderful. It's been beautiful. So and I'm not doing anything that supersedes what any other human being can do. Matter of fact, I'm probably doing it worse than because I'm such a stubborn Italian guy from New York, you know, and I need the kicks in the butts every so often where other people can get it even easier than me. So there's
right?
nothing special about me. No, yeah. So people need to know that it's everything that I've accomplished and my wife accomplished, anybody can accomplish. They just need to work on the beliefs and the systems that we're going to be talking about at that workshop.
Well, I'm excited about attending your workshop, and I know I have a lot of friends that can't wait for it either. So, and that workshop is it's September 15th, right?
That's correct. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. They can. I'm going to be having that on my website. They can go and register through there, or they can contact me. If they do go to my website, they can sign on and register just for receiving newsletters and updates of where I'm going to be and communicate with me. And absolutely, I would just love everybody to be able to attend because this is going to be so unique for them, and it definitely is not going to be the same information they've read 100 times over.
Yeah, and I think that's what people are really clamoring for. They want something different that's going to work. Because when you've read all the books, and you've been to all the seminars, and you've worked with different coaches, in personal, like dating coaches, what have you, and then nothing's happening. It's like, gosh, what is going on? And
I know. And the retreats that people have been on, the couple retreats and the marriage retreats, and oh my gosh, I mean, they spend thousands of dollars trying to make something work when they already have the formula. They already have the answer. It's a matter of changing belief systems versus learning a new technique.
Mm-hmm. And doing things a different way. Well, so they can sign up for that on your website, which is vincentgenna.com, right?
That is correct, and that's GENNA.com, Vincent Genna with a G.
Well, and I want to talk about the next thing. I'm so excited about this. You actually have a very exciting event happening tomorrow.
Yes, I do, in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm very excited about that. I've been on George Norrie's show, Coast to Coast AM, several times. He has me on as a regular. I do predictions on there. We've talked about so many different subjects. And he invited me to do his event. He travels around the country, and he's going to be in Asheville tomorrow. On Saturday, and it's going to be fabulous. I'll be speaking with 3 other paranormal experts besides myself there, and it's a lot of fun. George makes the shows a lot of fun and entertaining, and I tend to throw in a lot of humor myself because, the information we have to share can be so heavy, and deep, that we need to also laugh, so that's what we do. So that's tomorrow. I hope everybody, gosh, I think it's almost all sold out is what I heard.
Yeah, I was just looking a little bit ago, and it looked like there are only like a handful of tickets still available. So I'm sure by the time this show's done, they're going to be gone. So if you're interested in picking up a ticket to see, Vince Genna and George Norrie and a few other amazing guests, you definitely want to go to Vincent's website right now and go and get those tickets.
Right. And then I will be, as well as the other speakers, will be available afterwards to talk with people. I have some great workshops and meditation CD that I'm going to be bringing with me. They've been very powerful, and people have been sharing unbelievable experiences from listening to them. I don't have them with me all the time, but I'm going to bring them with me tomorrow because people have been asking for them. So come up, talk to me afterwards. Even if you might not get a chance, even if the ticket is sold out, like I said, I'll be there afterwards. Come to the lobby and say hello. Tell me that you've been listening or you've had a reading with me. And again, everybody can always sign up for a session with me. We get very deep. And I consider myself a transformative big leap psychic, which means if you're inspired to have a reading with me, it's because you're ready for a big transformation in your life, and I get to see what's going to allow that to happen.
You get the front row seat, don't you?
Absolutely. I love that. Of course, what I do as a psychic is I relay to you and I share with you the things you don't even get to see about yourself or you've got hidden away, whether they be your gifts and talents or whether they be the blocks that are stopping you from achieving what you want. That's the whole purpose of the work that I do, is and we do get caught up in ourselves because we're so personally, emotionally involved, right? And we have defense mechanisms in our mind. That, again, it's one of the workshops that I have on CD, is God, It's Not Working, which explains the psychological process of what your mind does to protect you from negative feelings and to hide those things. And without knowing all that you're experiencing deep down inside of you, you have these blocks, and that's what's keeping you from achieving what you want to achieve, and you don't even know that you're stopping yourself. But you are, and so at these, when I'm going to be at the event, and it's going to be a surprise too, because George has all these topics he wants to talk about with me. So whichever one he winds up picking, it can get really deep and a lot of fun about how to deal with what's going on in the world today and protect yourself. How to become a psychic medium. We can be talking about that. Some real exciting subjects. So, and then I'm going to be doing a surprise reading for somebody in the audience. So, that's going to be exciting as well. And George is going to pick somebody out. So I just recommend if you can get on the phone and try to get one of those leftover tickets now and show up. It'll be great.
Well, if not, I highly suggest people make an appointment to spend time with you, Vincent. And I know you do that on the phone too. It's not all this has to be, a lot of times people think, oh gosh, this has to be done in person. And that's
right. Well, it is. You know why they feel that way, Marianne? It's so funny because they think they're carrying with them that knowledge base, like they don't realize that all the information about them is being held in a dimension somewhere. It's Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious or the mind of God. Then there's other spiritual gurus called it the Akashic records. Whatever it's called, we're connected in another place. So you're not carrying it with you like an encyclopedia. You don't have to be in front of me because even if you're sitting in front of me, I still have to go to that place to make the connection, right? So that's what allows me. I have clients from Yugoslavia, Russia, Japan, Vietnam, Australia, Hawaii. So in all reaches of the world, I've had all of these readings with up to thousands of people at this point. So most of my work is by phone anyway.
Well, and it's interesting. I mean, we've had the opportunity to spend time together, and I know just how highly gifted you are during that time. And it's one of the things that there's so many gifted people out there, but a lot of times their accessibility is extremely limited, or not. That you just can't spend time with them. And I love how you're really for the people. I mean, you're there to help people move forward, and you make that time available.
It's important for me, Marianne, because it's more about the people, and that's where I get my enjoyment from, is helping as many people as possible, right? So of course I have to make myself more accessible. And please, I want people to understand, I have my time. Like I just told you that I just got back from a river cruise that we had a fabulous time. It was our 40th anniversary that we were celebrating, and then I went to a wedding. We did a lot of traveling this year. So I'm capable of feeding my energy and my emotional needs, as well as working with others. I even make myself available. I have a Facebook event that I usually do the first Wednesday of every month, where people will write me questions about deceased loved ones that they want to hear from, or a psychic question, and I will, for an hour, I give my time away to those people, so it reaches as many people that don't have the affordability or the time themselves to be able to communicate with me personally. So I do whatever I can to make myself available. Even on my website, if you go to my website right now and you've not been there before, I have a quiz on there. What is it in your life that you need most of right now? And so I help that way. They'll answer 5 questions, and it'll tell them, what my intuitive feeling was about what they need, and give them some information and feedback on that. So whether you contact me directly or indirectly, I've tried as much as possible to make my information available to you. And when I say my information, obviously it's through source. It's through God. It's through the wisdom that was already created. So I've not created anything new. I'm relaying old stuff, but I'm relaying it my way, through my personality and way of being able to reach the hearts and souls of others. So that does make a difference. I mean, it's why we can read a book from one person and not get anything out of it, and read the same information from somebody else and all of a sudden get a world of knowledge from it. The messenger has something to do with it, and I pride myself in the way I could deliver that message, and I think people get to experience that when they experience me. So it's all about getting it out to the public, and that's what I care about.
Well, it's easy to see that you care about that so much, Vincent, and my goodness, I just really appreciate the time that we've been able to spend together, and I'm looking forward to meeting Eileen at the event that's coming up on September 15th, and I highly suggest everyone not only see if they can attend that event, but if you're not in the area, make sure to sign up for Vincent's newsletter at his website, and that's vincentgenna.com. Vincent, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Oh, my gosh, Mary Ann, it's an honor for me for you to invite me on the show. You've got such a spectacular show, and you reach so many people that it's luminaries like yourself that can take a person like me and my message and share it out into the world. So we may be lights, but you're the lighthouse, and I so appreciate you asking me to do that. So it means a lot to me.
Well, thank you, Vincent. It's always such a joy to spend this time with you. Again, if you're looking to connect with Vincent Genna, you can at his website, vincentgenna.com. Make sure to check out all of his events he has going on, including his new one, All You Need Is Love, Attracting and Maintaining the Perfect Relationships. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Mary Ann airs every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.